afternoon. Welcome everyone to our panel discussion, Pathways to Holistic Wellness, Mapping Saudi Arabia's Role in Global Wellness. Super exciting topic. I'm proud to be here on the stage and to invite our panelists to the stage here. We have a fantastic lineup of speakers today. Lindsay, an authority on global wellness trends and Saudi's unique offerings. Heidi, with deep experience in wellness innovation and operational excellence in luxury hospitality. And Tommy, who brings a wealth of knowledge in real estate, hospitality development, and asset management. By the way, I personally consider myself also a wellness expert. I really enjoy my weekly massages. I hope that counts. Welcome, everyone. All right, perfect. All right, so let's dive right in. How's everyone doing? Good? Comfortable? Great. Our main goal today is to explore how Saudi Arabia can really carve out its own space, its own identity in the wellness industry on a global scale. And I'd like to start off with Lindsay, if you don't mind. Lindsay, how can this country leverage its unique cultural heritage to differentiate its wellness tourism and offerings globally?
That's a great question, and I think Saudi as a culture already has an incredible blueprint for well-being. Well-being is already embedded within their culture, within the heritage, within the land, within the landscapes, the nature. And so it's not difficult for us. We've been given this beautiful foundation already. I think when you tie in the heritage, when you tie in the different ceremonies, the hafawa, which actually for some of you may not know, that's the Saudi hospitality. It's the kindness, it's generosity. And this comes in the greetings, in the coffee rituals, in the date rituals, and that shows up in the culture. So that's already great, that's here. We have our natural landscapes, which Saudi Arabia is so vast and so many different landscapes. We've got coastal developments, we've got land developments, we've got mountains, and so already there's this really great platform for wellness here. And then if you go into the culture, you've got the cleansing, the purification, you've got all of the different rituals that the country already has, it's already there. So I think it already sets up a really incredible foundation for wellness tourism.
I think my takeaway from that is you don't necessarily need to develop a spa to enjoy wellness and to feel that element of well-being. You can just be outside in nature that is already given to you, and that is wellness in and of itself.
And the culture already does that, the family, the togetherness, the gathering, that is part of the culture. I think people today think wellness has to be, I have to go to the gym, and I have to eat healthy, and I have to sleep, and those are all components of our overall health and well-being. But our well-being is also a state of mind. It's how we show up every day and how we feel. And a lot of cultures globally, family and togetherness is part of the culture. It's part of their well-being. Sharing food together, sharing time together. Those are all essence of well-being. And so I think that each culture around the world frames that really differently. And this is what I think Saudi is going to be able to bring to the table.
Absolutely. Heidi, building on that, how can Saudi successfully position itself as a leading wellness tourism hub while maintaining cultural sensitivity and authenticity?
Yeah, I think following on from what Lindsay was saying, it's really important that, like for example, how we work is we make sure that every location we go to, we're working with the indigenous environment. Don't copy and paste, come in and look at what's around you, see what's growing around you. If you're looking at anywhere around the world, every country, every region, they have their own healing. So tap into that. Don't just bring a generic level of healing in, but look at what's indigenous to this local area and enhance that as well. So, in the Maldives, I think, where a lot of our spas are, we have a cultural sensitivity there because it's a Muslim country.
Right.
So again, we're very careful when we are promoting wellness, we have it more generic. For example, if we're going out doing CSR in the local schools, we will make sure that we are not doing meditations with OMS, but we're, the guys like to use Allah, for example.
Right.
So we adapt. And I think what's really important is with anybody that's bringing wellness into the regions of anywhere in the world, but here we're talking about Saudi, is that you keep it open to what's really here, and then you can adapt it, because wellness should be for all. It shouldn't be about different cultures. It should be inclusive, but we need to be sensitive towards that, and we need to be open-minded as well, and then it really works. So working with the indigenous area around you, like Lindsay was saying, there's so much beauty here, and there's so many natural elements that can be worked with. That's wellness in itself.
This reminds me of a case where a Bali-based wellness operator was looking to enter Saudi. And at the very core, the wellness principles that were being followed were indeed rooted in the Eastern teachings. But bringing it to this region, achieving that balance of the core principles, but maintaining the Islamic principles as the build-up around it, and to effectively make it localized and accepted by the local population. Is this an example that resonates with you?
Yeah, and we've very much done that within our brand. I think we've got to step away from, wellness comes from this region and this region. It can be adapted anywhere. It's about, listen, I've done a lot of different things over the years, especially with fitness, where we've adapted our own. You learn different methods, and you adapt your own way. Right. So why can't we do that with wellness? Why does it have to be, this is one following this, let's create our own? So why don't we create something completely new? It's Absolutely. There for the offering,
Absolutely, thank you. And it's quite unique as well. Thank you. Tommy.
Yes?
Drawing from your extensive experience in real estate and hospitality across both Asia and the Middle East, what parallels can Saudi draw from these regions in terms of wellness, tourism, and development?
I think the Saudi wellness, I strongly believe is a new frontier. Why I like to mention that is that I have done quite a number of luxury resorts around the world. Wellness is something which you don't really get a lot of disruption, because we still go back to the traditional practices like your massages and the good food. The right food, I would say, the right food that you eat, the right sleeps, also mental wellness. So all these things, are there breakthroughs? There are breakthroughs in scientific realms, but those are sometimes quite invasive. But it does enhance. But if you look back to what is really wellness in a holistic way, it follows the culture. If you look back to India, Alyvate, right? It dates back a few thousand years, and it's still practiced of today. It looks at TCM in China. It's still practiced today.
TCM meaning traditional Chinese medicine.
Yeah, it's still practiced today. If you look at the Zen way of practicing, it's still practiced today. And of course, you look at Bali, which is it's more a subset of Hinduism, but it's a spiritual healing. It's still practiced today. So wellness is something which we need to embrace it as a cultural form, and keep it as at the original state. And that is the reason why I felt that Saudi, I would find that Saudi is actually one of the last frontier of Middle East market to open. And when I first came to Saudi, like 6 years ago, my first visit to Saudi was amazing because I felt that there's a lot of things untouched. And that's where I start to realize that people living here has a way of life. It's a harsh climate here, but they are thriving. And it's through the food and through the practice. You can say they are footlock practice, but it is very effective. Scientifically may not be, it's hard to prove because it's a long-term process. Wellness is a frame of mind. Wellness is a culture, and to certain people it's a religion, and it's a faith. And you have to be very long, and there's no data point on that for that long. So to me, wellness in Saudi is a new frontier that is a chance for us to really embrace things that is untouched, location that is untouched, and try to work that into a new wellness concept like what you have in Ayurveda, TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, Zen, and a spiritual one. And we can have something, we can recognize it as the Islamic or the of the region wellness program, and implement it globally. Now, I think through many amazing projects in Saudi, we are importing many concepts, Western concept, Asian concept, hybrid of concept, medical concepts. They are enhancement, but I still strongly believe wellness is best take on the original form. But then you have to enhance it with the new technology to push it further. That's my view.
Excellent.
Yeah.
You've inspired me when it comes to the nomadic society of the past, and maybe linking that in with a nomadic wellness program. So, good idea for product development in the future. Lindsay, understanding the consumer is key. From your work with the Global Wellness Institute, what insights can you share about wellness travelers' motivations and expectations today?
So just for some context, I am the vice chair of the Global Wellness Institute's Wellness Tourism Initiative. And so we're a group of volunteers which do research on wellness tourism and the motivations behind the wellness traveler. And what we see is that there's two categories. There's the primary wellness traveler who is traveling for wellness, and that's their key demand. An example of that would be, I'm going to Clinique La Prairie for a week for a longevity program, or I'm going to Jayasam, which is a new brand that we're building at Amala, for a program. The secondary wellness traveler is coming to a luxury hospitality chain. So it could be a Four Seasons, it could be a Raffles, it could be any of those brands, and they're going to experience wellness while they're there. So while it's not a primary demand, it's more of a secondary demand. And what we see is that from the work that we've done, there's kind of 4 or 5 key areas. One of them is actually there is a demand from the wellness traveler to want sustainable, regenerative environments, whether that's learning more about the community. They feel that when they travel well and they're doing well for themselves, they also want to do well for the environment as well. Having access to local, healthy, organic food, having selection of wellness experiences available. Nature and conservation is definitely on the list, and some type of sporting events or festivals or something like that. So those are the key demands. But what we're finding in the industry today is that longevity and biohacking are the new wellness. It's just the new buzzwords of wellness. It's not the new wellness. And so people are more savvy. They have a lot of information. They want evidence-based programs. But that also, we have to say that that's not for everybody. Some people are just looking for relaxation, for peace and quiet, for meditation. We see a lot of demand today for mental health. It's one of the highest demands in terms of people wanting to partake in wellness. So that could be anxiety, it could be trauma, it could be depression. And then we're also seeing, I mean, there's the sustainability element. I think people are still continuing to want to travel with the sustainable mindset. And the destination that we're building at the Red Sea, which is Amala, it was announced in 2018, and that was, the vision behind that was to be the most comprehensive health and wellness destination. So as a destination, we've considered all these components as we've built the program and the destination itself, and that will be opening by the end of this year.
What I'm really a fan of, as far as trends go as well, is the democratization of wellness. Price points are going down as technological capabilities go up. So that for me is really an exciting area. It's not going to be limited to the luxury space anymore. We're talking about re-stratification of who is able to afford these services as well. Heidi, there's a significant global shift towards holistic well-being. And with this shift towards mental health and emotional wellness, how can hospitality businesses effectively integrate these components into their strategies?
Okay, I don't always have the most popular answers that everybody wants to hear, but I think that the digital aspect has a big impact. I know there's a lot of talk about how we must go more digital, more AI, etc. I think there's a space for it, but when we're talking about wellness, you've got to consider if you're having a guest that's coming in purely relying in your hotel or resort on digital appliances to connect with the hotel or resort, then you're just keeping them engaged with technology. Instead of wellness is about coming back into your own space and being able to set yourself in the present and be able to relax instead of constantly being connected to technology. So I think that if we're looking at you know, as a whole, not just in the spa and wellness space, but in the whole hotel or resort, I think we've got to consider how we're connecting with the guests first, because we can do fantastic things with them with their wellness journey. But if they're constantly hooked up to technology, then they're back in that space again, and there's a distraction because emails are pinging and messages are pinging, and it just...
It's like, hey, you want a room service menu? Here's the QR code that you must scan with your phone. Oh, by the way, digital detox, you know.
Oh, yeah,
doesn't
and
really
there's just not a balance. And, you know, we are creatures that need that connection, you know. And I was talking earlier to someone and saying, you know, I'm traveling here on my own. And the hotel that I'm staying, people are just so lovely. The staff are so nice. They're so pleasant and welcoming. And just that small bit of human touch has made my stay more comfortable because someone's saying, hello, how was your day, et cetera, et cetera. Whereas if we remove all of that and all of a sudden technology is there, I don't think my stay would have been as enjoyable, you know. So remember that wellness is happiness. If we're not happy, then the wellness cannot be there. Because, you know, the brain is, the gut and the brain, there's a lot of control. It's all there. So
the consistency in the story.
Yeah, definitely. So I think we've got to have a balance. And that's where, yes, there is a time and a place for technology and AI, but just be very mindful of it, especially if you are a company that wants to kind of look at your guests' mental health and wellness.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, on the flip side, Tommy, what role do you see technology play in the wellness industry moving forward?
Technology, you mean?
Technology, yes.
Well, it's contradicting sometimes.
It is.
Right? But in order to implement it in a mass market way, you got no choice but to rely on technology. I mean, technology is not bad, actually. AI is now coming into the wellness space, which is a good thing, I believe, strongly believe, because it's not everybody have that same knowledge of somebody have Ayurveda techniques or understanding and how to marry it with traditional Chinese medicines and then infuse it into a Zen concept. Who can do that? You need a person that practice 10 years here, 10 years here, and 10 years there. Yeah. But with an AI big data, you can easily implement 3 different concepts into one program, easily. So technology will still be there, but I do agree with my colleague here about the multiple appliances that we are using, and exploring that possibility of cutting off a portion of electromagnetic frequency, which is the basis of having that messiness in your mind, that clouded your mind while you sleep. Actually, people sleep better without the equipment beside them, and also how we can reduce the EMF in the rooms. But you can't run away from the over environment. Yeah. And another thing is that a lot of wellness resorts that we work on, and we are very lucky that we can have big open land. And that is the first thing that people feel happy about. Wow, lush green, wow, nice sea view, wow. But if you're in a city environment and you can't travel out so often, or you can't afford so often, then augmented reality may come in the future, where you are in a dense location, and there's no way about it, because you're staying in a dense location in New York, downtown, or in Tokyo, right? But you want to feel that, that feeling. You have to rely on technology to give you that state of mind of augmentedly, you can feel that I'm in the seaside. Oh, I'm in the lush green.
Escapism.
Exactly. And that is the first target, that you bring your mind to a level where you are willing to accept the rest of the treatment. You need to be comfortable, like what she says. Your state of mind needs to open up. But if your state of mind is constantly tied up, you couldn't accept anything that it dish to you other than supplements, which is just a quick fix. But it doesn't help that way. So in terms of technology coming into the play, I'm very supportive, yet I'm cautiously supportive.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, Lindsay, Heidi, Tommy, thank you all for your really appreciated insights. And it's clear that there's obviously a lot of work to do to get to a strong position on the global stage for this country. But the wheels are in motion, and it's very refreshing to hear that there is indeed a lot of optimism and a lot of work that can be done to make it reach to that stage. There's a great sense of pride as well from what we've seen in the ability to define and carve out that niche in the global stage on wellness tourism. So thank you very much. A hand for our panelists.